Hello, guys, and welcome back to the beginning of another episode of SchmoeTalks. And kind of like what last week, I just talked about how I'm going to be doing the try and keep them quick, pre-recorded segments, updating you guys on the competition we're doing amongst our viewers, some of the first guests I booked. So let's go ahead and get through that quickly before getting to the episode. As I pull this up here this week, obviously last week, because of the late upload, I included the previous Eric Zipper Brandon Hanna match as a part of that episode. So focusing on the four matches that happened, we had the Lacey Giller and Evan Bushcar match that was worth 1 point for being a Thursday match happen. And there you go. You can see highlighted in green and red the people who got points from it and the people who didn't. Then below we had the Janine the Machine versus Jada Paramo match, 2 points for being a Friday match. And we have the winners and losers right there. You guys can read through the names. We have the third match of the week, 13th overall. William Bibiani took on Paulo Yama in the undercard of the Battlefield, excuse me. And there we go. We have the winners and losers there. And then obviously Matt Beer and Kevin Poss winning big, 4 points. Normally a main event of a Battlefield is worth 3 points, but due to the sudden death, they get an extra point as per the rules. And so these boys saw a good boost for betting on Andrew DeMolanta. Everybody else obviously took the what was an incredibly close L, but unfortunately is an L in that moment. And we scroll down here. There's the chart again with the rules. If everybody doesn't know, 1 point for normal matches, 2 points for Fridays or undercards, 3 points for main events, and the main event of Battlefield will be worth 5 points. Extra points if a KO or sudden death happens, and so we go in. And maintaining first place again from last week, Erica Chia maintains first place with a 9-5 record, 18 points. She's doing incredibly well so far this season. And yeah, these two gentlemen had great weeks, plus that big win at the end there. Matt Beer and Kevin Poss now tied in second place with Andy Sweet, 17 points with an 8-6 record. I scroll down, fifth place, 8-6 with 15 points. Ryan Payne having a bit of a worse week than them, but he started off really well, so it keeps him up there. Then tied for sixth place, you have myself and JD Domash, who I've hopped up the charts as well. We're both tied up there at 14 points. We have Michael Dingus at 8th place with 6 and 8, 12 points. Unfortunately, if Kevin and Matt had the best weeks, Jacob had the worst week. He actually hasn't gotten a correct prediction since match number 8 this season. But 6 and 8 with 11 points, unfortunately. And Colton Roberts, unfortunately, just did decently this week, but that rough starts made it hard for him to come back from 6 and 8 with 9 points for the prediction total. And we are over halfway, just one more week now to address the updates that happened. Obviously, the next season, next set of matches for the month of April going into May was announced. I put it up on our Facebook page, and if you have interest, please put it in the comments. If this is something you guys like as a competition amongst future guests, and you'd like to be input into that competition next time around, please let me know. I'd absolutely love to have you guys be interactive with the show and be a part of it. So comment below if you guys do. Let me know that you want in, and I will put you guys into contention. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe, stick around, and I hope you guys enjoy the interview with the great, someone I call a friend, and the recent Schmoedown debutant, Amaru Moses. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of SchmoeTalks. That's right, another week back here, another week of the Schmoedowns happened. We are back. My name is Aaron Knoll. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching, and I am super, super excited. Obviously, if you guys have been watching the last few episodes, we've been kind of doing a flashback series looking at the previous seasons of the Schmoedown, and for me, it's a way to reach out and bring people in and kind of acclimate to the show before I really start going into the interview portion that I really want to focus on. But today I am incredibly excited to have somebody who over the last few months as I've come back to TMG, I've gotten to know a lot. because the man wouldn't stop winning. And I've spent a lot of time around him, and he's a great guy. And you all know him better as the man who has made it into the Schmoedown. He took on someone who I not only interviewed a few weeks ago, but they also guested together on the show as my first guests, and then they played each other. Enough messing around. His name's in the video. It is Amaru Moses. How's it going, man?
What up? What up? I am not in a car trying to speak through headphones this time. I'm actually.
You are not. No.
Here.
You are not. To be fair, that went better than it probably should have, all things considered. But
seriously, it really did. It really did. Though I kept getting like the sun in my eye and kept trying to like not blind people because the sun was like, just reflecting and beaming into the camera. But other than that, it was good.
Yeah, well, welcome back, man. You know, it's funny. As I said, you know, when I started this show, my goal, once we really get into doing interviews weekly, is I want this to be a show where we can talk to both the Schmoedown fan and the Schmoedown pro. You are one of the few who can say you were on the show as a fan, and now you're a pro, and you're a winning pro by that standard. 1-0 in the Schmoedown, took on Jesse Swift. I believe 19-16 was the final score, if I remember that one correctly.
19-16.
Yeah, in what was for the first regular match of Season 8 as a very, very solid start. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I guess kind of the first question I feel like we have to ask is, you know, everybody, I'm sure all the debutants going into this, especially the ones who have been fans as long as you have, are feeling some kind of pressure to not fall flat, you know, especially because we were in our flashback series, we've been talking about, especially with the last video we did, or one of the last ones, we had the first late to the party matches happen and kind of talking about how, you know, some of those early fans that stepped in have kind of phased out or fizzled out very quickly. And I'm sure none of the new fans stepping in want to become that person. How did it feel for you to get that first match over with immediately and to get the victory?
I was really happy that I was the first match of the season, not including the pay-per-view, but like the first real match of the regular season that Christian really put faith in me and Jesse to kind of like kick everything off. I really like that Inner Geekdom is what he wanted to kick off with, to really like, because I feel like Inner Geekdom out of all four of the divisions is probably, even though it's hyped a lot, it's probably the one that gets the least amount of views totally, just because there are a lot of people who don't know. Even though we believe everybody knows all the Inner Geekdom stuff, there are a lot of people who don't watch those movies. So to be able to kick that off, and with me and with Jesse, two rookies who like haven't done anything in the Schmoedown. Like, yeah, I've been in the fan leagues, but Jesse hasn't done anything on anything. I was really, I mean, up until he got announced on the draft, and then everybody and their mama know who Jesse was because he was everywhere. But I was really happy to be able to do that and just to be able to get it going. I really was, and then especially to get the win. The number 2 pressure, I let everybody else take that, but I still needed to win that match. Like, I could not lose that match coming out. I didn't care how it was happening. I just was like, I can't lose. That would just not be good unless, like, we both go perfect and then I miss my 5. Then I'm okay with that because anybody can miss a 5.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is a certain standard of performance where you can't be disappointed you lost at that point, but the win is most certainly what you wanted. And so you mentioned it briefly there, but before we get into the first segment of the show, I feel like I have to mention, obviously, you know, now because of the match, we've all seen your reaction to when you got picked number 2. You looked like you died a little inside out of shock that it happened. I remember talking to you on the night of, just being like, I literally had to double back the video and be like, did they just say his name that quickly? Holy shit. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's a domineering moment. You know, I don't think any fan leaguers had that level of hype entrance. And maybe outside of Chance, when Chance was like, who is this guy in a tournament full of people we know? Who's this guy that got paired up with Mike? Like, because even last year, you know, like James and Robert went early, but not that early.
Right. Robert went second round, but not second pick.
No, I mean, that was impressively early. So for you going in, that pressure doesn't ride you. You have no choice but to put that off, right?
Yeah, I like easily. I have to just say, like, I let everybody else talk about the pressure, say there's pressure, and I just like, No pressure for me. I've played this game. I've done it for a couple years, and I just did movie trivia all my life. Period.
Right.
So like, when Sam was on Chill to Action or whatever, when he was like, of course he was pick number 2. I'm like, yeah. I mean, like, knowing what I know, sure. So I can't let that. I can't put that pressure on myself. Or you start overthinking things, and you start like just not playing your own game. So I let everybody else do that. And keep it calm as much as I possibly can, and just go in and play.
Yeah, absolutely. So well, obviously we're gonna get into the match and we'll get into more Schmoedown stuff. But first, I want to take it back just a second and get into something that we do with every person we have on for an interview here, which is the 5 questions of SchmoeTalks. These are the 5 basic questions that I've come up with that I feel can give a real baseline for kind of understanding where people who enjoy the Schmoedown or are part of the Schmoedown come from in terms of it. So the first question, the most basic question I think anyone can ask is, when did you first discover the movie Trivia Schmoedown?
So it was, I would maybe say 5 years ago, as this cat sniffs my shoes. Thank you. I'm allergic to cats, so as long as it's around my feet and not mine. Anyway, tangent. About 5 years ago, I remember exactly where it was. I was in my my classroom. It was during testing week in Oakland. I could see it. I was watching Jeremy John's videos. One of his geek matches came up. I was like, oh, okay, I wonder what that is. It's cool. And then like I later on, I saw the 5-way geek match he was in. I was like, okay, I need to see what this is. And then I saw it, and then I was hooked. And from there, I have not stopped watching this Schmoedown. So
was that the one he won, the 5-way that he won?
Yes. Yep. And then from there, I went back and watched his. Then I watched his match versus Robert Meyer Burnett, and then I just was like, okay, well, let's just go back and figure out what all this is.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd say that was probably around season 3 or 4. I should know this. I'm the one doing the video.
I believe like towards the end of season 3, because I had to go back and like rewatch and catch up with a lot of the season 3 things. So I think it was around season 3, maybe a little bit
of season 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it'd probably be beginning of season 4, because the last match, the spectacular season 3, was when they started Inner Geekdom. So yeah, so early season 4, but I should know that easier. I'm the one doing it. But okay, so yeah, so that's interesting. So you are still technically an early fan, but like not day one, you know.
No.
As I've said jokingly, seasons 1 and 2, especially for people who are coming in now, is like watching a bunch of half-drunk friends wait to go to Chili's, because there's really no structure or semblance to how that worked. It was just a thing. Have you ever gone back and watched those out of curiosity?
I've watched a couple of them. I really wanted to see the Tri-Santa Taurus tops or whatever. So yeah, I've seen a couple, but they are a little rough to get through. But then you're like, that's because I've been watching these like structured, produced matches, and you have to go back and think about, no, you're just watching people have fun. So no.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I think my favorite, I've said this before, but my favorite thing about those early matches is during the teams tournament, the second season technically, they tried bringing in a little more production value, and they started playing like music behind them the whole match. And I remember watching it years later when I went back to watch it for this, and I remember thinking, that's Halo music. And I looked it up, and it was the theme from like Halo Reach that they're playing in the background. And I'm like, that's incredible. They'd never get away with that, but not nowadays. So the second question that I bring in here is this. The Schmoedown has 3 major components: film knowledge, wrestling storytelling, and now a sports league setup. When did you first discover your love for any of these elements?
Film knowledge and sports have been there forever. Like I it's to the point where like I am a huge sports fan. Okay. I am a diehard New York fan in just about anything, except I am and have always been, to my knowledge, a Washington football team fan. I don't know where it started. I don't know why it started. I don't know when it started. I just know that was always it. even though I'm a diehard Knicks fan, it's always been the Washington football team for no apparent reason. It's never not been. So for the sports has been always a love of mine. Film has always been a love of mine because it was a love of my older brother, and we got it because it's a love of my dad's. That's what we did since I was very, very little, and we watched any and everything except scary movies because my dad doesn't do scary movies. But
I can agree.
I think I had to really go back and think about what's my earliest memory of a movie in the theater, and I'm like, I realized that like Lion King was back in '94, so I was like, Lion King had to have been one of the first movies I'd seen in theaters. But I'm also pretty sure that I either saw Pulp Fiction in the theater or saw it on TV like a year later. So like when I say we saw everything, I mean we saw everything. Okay. Like my dad was like, look, but no, not really. No, my dad was like, look, you can watch this, you can listen to what you want. If I hear you saying any of that crap out there or doing anything like it, your ass is mine. Okay. Fear and knowledge of we can do what we want as long as we act right. Yes. Yeah. Plain and simple. So I've been watching movies and all kinds of movies forever. Wrestling, not as much as a love, but I was definitely in the Attitude Era. Like I watched The Rock, I watched Stone Cold. I think it was during summer vacation. It had to be sat down with friends, watched the pay-per-view of The Rock and Mankind match where they just went for like an hour. So there was a period of time I really did watch wrestling, but I eventually went away from wrestling, but have an affinity for it. I understand why people love it. So I never knock it just because I was into it as well. And Stone Cold is a G. The Rock is a G. The
Rock is still a G.
Yeah, and Sting is my dude. Sting is my dude. So
yeah. So as you said, film and sports, specifically mostly New York sports, have been a thing there for you since the very beginning. So I have to ask, what did you think of Soul's Knicks joke?
It is the most disrespectful and brilliant joke I've ever seen in my life. I was so upset, but so very proud at the same time.
Hey, it's a brilliant joke, but I just watched it thinking, if somebody made a joke about a team that I support like that, that's harsh.
But it's true. It's true. And also, ever since the movie ended and 22 got off her job, we've been pretty damn good. So I will take it.
Okay, so you're blaming Tina Fey for all the failures of the Knicks the last few years. That's what we're
whatever we can do to say it, because you are a live by the Knicks, die by the Knicks. Horrible team, amazing team. You're a Knicks fan. You're always a Knicks fan. So whatever we can take, we will take.
Hey, listen, I respect that. I don't watch a lot of American sports, but I'm huge into Premier League soccer, and that's the mentality for everyone over there. So, like, looking at American sports, I see a lot of people who are like those bandwagon fans. They just jump on whoever. I'd never heard of Golden State. Like, being honest, I'd never heard of Golden State before, like, Steph and Klay Thompson came in. And then all of a sudden, everybody was a Golden State fan. And it's like, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but okay. So I can respect that, like, because that's what it is in England. It doesn't matter if you're the worst team in the country or the best team. You die by whoever your team is.
Yeah.
So I can respect that. And yeah, I can relate to the early film thing as well. I mean, as far back as I can remember, the first memory I think I have is associated with a film, which is, and I think I remember it more so because of the visceral pain that came with it, which was when I was a little kid. I don't know why, but I thought it was a good idea to just stick my hand in a toaster while it was still plugged in and pull toast out. But I remember immediately after, like while my hand was burning, my mom put me on the couch, and my dad had just started watching Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And I remember watching that entire film. And, like, as a kid watching all of that, I mean, it's crazy to see, because that film at its time was revolutionary in some sort of way for everything they were bringing to the screen and how well they did it. So, yeah, I can agree with that in terms of having that historical kind of back love for film. So for the third question, we have, which element of the Schmoedown is your favorite? If you had to pick one, the film knowledge, the wrestling storytelling, or the sports league setup?
It's got to be the film knowledge. I'm mad competitive, especially when it comes to trivia, and especially when it comes to movie trivia. Movies are my favorite thing ever. Like I love sports too, but it's I'm pretty sure there's other things, but it's movies, sports. So
Gotcha.
like, and it's probably movies, sports, competitions. So you get trivia because I love just general trivia in period. Like in high school, I was part of the knowledge bowl team, and like at lunch, me and my boys would be hanging out, and I'd be like, "All right, I gotta go," and they'd be like, "You off to the nerd bowl?" I'm like, "Yep." They'd be like, "All right, see y'all later." They'd be like, "Cool, we'll see you when you get back." So I love trivia and I love movies, so it's definitely the film knowledge.
Awesome. All right. So then the next one is, and obviously, you don't have as much experience, but which member of your team or faction, past or present, has been the biggest help to you in your Schmoedown career? So for you, I guess, it really is the one match. And obviously, you come from the family, so I'm sure you have connections outside of your faction as well that have helped you. But who was the biggest help to you in getting ready for that match?
So you said it. I actually got a lot of help from a lot of people, both inside and outside the faction. Like legit, the first and last question I had were questions I got drilled on for weeks by 5 different people. So it was really great. I will say this sounds like corny or cliche, but Sam and Rachel together just drilling me on questions. A couple of different times before the match, including on some of those new categories. It's only been one match, but I would definitely say my entire faction for one.
Okay.
Especially the rookies on the suspects are pretty damn close. Like we are helping out each other as much as we can and everything. But yeah, Sam and Rachel have been really beneficial for that first match.
Yeah, I was gonna say it has to help having a former, if I get this correct, a former 2-time Inner Geekdom champ.
I believe so.
Yeah, as just she happens to have a good friendship with your manager. That has to help, right?
It's the boss lady. It's the boss lady. So yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, I was gonna say, obviously, without delving into details, you got to keep something secret. But you talk about that relationship that all the rookies have with each other. That must be helping in a big way because it wasn't just you that came in clutch for the faction that week. Marie Wilson came out and also showed up and showed out for that match. And I can only assume that, vice versa, she helped you out as a part and you helped her out with that too.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I will say is that like with Star Wars being so deep cut and IG being everything, it's a little harder to study together because it kind of feels like, okay, I'm getting in the way of you really delving into Star Wars, and your Star Wars is kind of getting in the way of making sure I get everything. But the support we have for each other, especially knowing we were 1-2 coming out, first match and second match of the season, just hyping each other up, getting each other ready to be like, yo, you good, you prepared, you ready to go. It was really nice going into that first match. And then I know we're dating this, but Frankie right after. Frankie has his match is coming out a week after ours.
Right.
So like 1, 2, 3 in the first 2 weeks, 3 rookies from the suspects was really helpful to be like, we just went through this. You got this, fam. So yeah, it's been really nice.
Yeah, which that does technically, not that I care that much, but that does technically date this. By the time this airs, you watching will know if Frankie was able to take out the whatever Brother Lomas is. I don't know how to describe that, but we'll see if Frankie was able to take him out and get more points, which would certainly help because that would put you guys on a great roll to start the year out.
Wait, gotta switch that. 3-0.
There you go. So then question number 5 here, the last one I have is, what is something you haven't done yet in the Schmoedown that you have interest in doing? And this can be anything to your thought, just and you literally have done one thing. So what's something you haven't done yet that you would have interest in doing down the road?
I definitely want to do 3 things. One, I do want to be on a team. I want to be on a team. I want to be on the team. I want to be in the team's division for sure. Just being able to not have to do just strictly IG, to be able to pair up with somebody, that'd be great. I want to be in a free-for-all. I don't want. I got members of my faction who should be in the free for all before me, for sure. But like,
Right.
I've already, like, 2 days after it was announced, I texted Sam like, "Yo, if you just happen to have like some dropouts because the time don't work and you need somebody for the free for all, I'm here, ready to go. I'm ready to go." And I am so, even though the first damn question that I missed in the Schmoedown was a Wizarding World question, PJ, you sneaky man. I want to murder in a Wizarding World exhibition. I want to go in so bad on a Wizarding World exhibition.
Wizarding World?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. I love the Harry Potter movies. I actually, I've compared to you especially, I've played very little Fan League matches, so it's not like I've ever had an opportunity to like show that out. I think I could do decently well in that, but like again, that's one where that knowledge goes so deep, like you have to study, and especially for someone like me, because I've also read the books multiple times, like that's another level on it. Is like you got to be able to differentiate. This is how it happened in the books. This is what happened in the film. Because I know they do change certain things. I think the first one that comes to mind right away is like the gillyweed. How he gets the gillyweed in both of them is different from the book. Yeah,
I've had to correct people in Fan League matches. Like yeah, Dobby does it in the book, but it's not Dobby in the movie.
Because Dobby's not in the film.
Exactly.
Just from Harry Potter fan to Harry Potter fan, can I just say Dobby was the biggest waste of that franchise. Like, in the books, I think he's done so well, and the fact that he's only there to be introduced and then to die is such a shame. But it's like, I don't know how you fit him in the other films.
Especially his other, like, his other big contribution is in Goblet of Fire, which is a freaking brick of a book.
Yeah.
And, like I think everybody also was really upset that the Quidditch World Cup wasn't in there, and it's like, fam, we would be there for 4 hours. We don't mind being there for 4 hours, but everybody's not going to sit there for a 4-hour movie if you're going to input everything you need to. Right. I'm sorry. So
like you could make a whole spin-off film off of that alone. Harry Potter and the Quidditch World Cup. It's just that game and reaction shots of the tree.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we lost Ludo Bagman. If I keep going, we'll go down a rabbit hole. So
not every franchise gets the luxury of being the Lord of the Rings extended edition, where you can put everything from the books in.
Yep.
Not everyone gets that luxury, but so let's get into it with the time that we have left here. Obviously, so your first match happens. You go in. Let's kind of break it down. So before going in, and I feel like this was, people have called this kind of the great equalizer of IG, but between your Fan League matches and probably the pre-prep you've been doing before you even got drafted, because you knew that if you got drafted, you'd be going straight into IG, and then you get that bomb drop of, here's the 12, 14 brand new categories that we're putting in here, and we're doing the reshuffling and yada, 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 and now I gotta watch the Transformers films and the Apes films and all these other things. What was your reaction to that when you saw it at first?
This is a lot of movies. Luckily, I got multiplex fandom. There are a good number of categories that were already in some fan leagues there. So I was like, okay, thank goodness. I know this one already. And then others, I was like, it really probably was just the same as everything else. Okay, this is cool. I've seen this all my life. This is cool. Crap. Just crap. It's just a lot of stuff that I've not seen.
A lot of crap.
Just a lot of things I've not seen, and I have to find a way to balance. Okay, the immediate thing was, okay, which ones do I focus on first? And just take it one by one. Which ones am I going to watch? Which ones am I going to ask everybody to send me some study sheets on? And really go from there. And I think that's where I really started to go in on, okay, let me watch matches and see what type of questions they really ask. So where can I feel comfortable going a new slice in round 2? What can I expect in round 1? What am I going to need to know? So for some of the longer categories, I'm like, I'm not going to watch these. If there's some categories that got 4 or 5 movies, 6 movies, knock those out real quick. Except Transformers are all 2.5 hours long, and it's why?
It's so long.
Why? And then others and then some of them were 14 movies, some franchises I enjoyed. You know what? Let's watch all these. Let's get through them It also has a couple movies I've never seen. So let's just get this category out the way too. So trying to navigate where you want to focus on first is really was the first thing that I did. And then to make sure I'm coming in like, because I'm hyped. I was hyped coming in, and I'm like, but I'm hyped on the main 10. Like my knowledge is on the main 10, so like
it's unquestionable.
The pressure y'all are putting on me ain't with this other 8, 9, 10 films, and then like MCU is gone. You saw the Saw match. Marvel's supposed to have MCU questions. There wasn't one MCU question in that round too. Not one. And I'm like, yo, this is Marvel. Where are my MCU questions at? Anyway.
Yeah, you're right. It actually is interesting, going back to the Saul Humphrey match. You're right. They're in a round of all Marvel questions when the MCU is a part of it. The MCU wasn't in it, which I think is that is kind of the great equalizer, because I feel like, and I say it even for myself, like MCU is something I know inside and out in terms of like the minimal things I'm good at in IG. Like that's a crutch category for sure. So taking that and wiping it out, I think does kind of level the playing field, and it makes you have to learn the newer stuff as well as the older stuff, which is really interesting. So getting into your match, I guess, we kind of you kind of went into it a little bit at the end of your match yourself, talking about your performance and specifically how, despite the fact that obviously you're happy you won, you got the points for the team, you came in, you did what you needed to do, you weren't as happy with the performance. What was your thoughts after the fact? What time to think about your first match?
So really the big overarching thing, one way that I cope with things is I complain. Like I'm a good complainer. Okay. So like me complaining is my way to just vent, because what I'm complaining about isn't really what's like top in my mind. It's just a nice way to just get things off my chest. To have fun, because it really isn't what I'm really thinking of, really harping on. What I really was harping on, I had a bad match and I didn't show my points, but I showed I know how to play this game. I know the strategy. I know what I need to do to win when I'm not having my best day. And that's good. And that's really good, because people are going to underestimate me and think, okay, he's not as hard as he is. And then I'm like, catch me on a regular day and you will see what happens.
Absolutely.
Catch me on a bad day and you still got to fight in your hands. So that's really what's like the immediate thing in my mind. And then right after that, okay, what do I need to make sure I don't do next time in terms of overthinking? And like really understanding, oh, this question you had the answer to, that was definitely the answer. Say it next time.
That kind of double guessing yourself, double guessing your gut is, I feel like, something that gets a lot of people who play in trouble. Because I know I've had it where like, because I have, and I've spoken about this, like it's why I'm so good at movie release dates. I've never been tested for it, but I show all the signs of an eidetic memory or something similar to it, where I have that really strong, I can read something and without realizing hold on to it. And it's why I am so good at movie release dates, because I've surfed through Wikipedia pages and just remember shit that I never think I would. And I'll have that where like a question will come up about a movie I've never seen. Like for example, okay, I think this question was in your match actually. Who plays Dylan in The Predator? I've never seen The Predator all the way through. I can name you a handful of cast members. And, I mean, obviously, it's round one, so you're thinking, okay, so it's not a tiny character. It's got to be someone of a reasonably large role. And just instinctively, I went Carl Weathers, and then immediately was like, wait, am I right about that? And then, obviously, it was Carl Weathers. And that's just from me, like, having seen clips, and I've read through the Wikipedia pages, and it's like, that's just stuck with me, but I'm guessing it. And I feel like that's something that can get a lot of players into trouble if you do that too much.
For sure. There have been plenty of matches in the fan leagues where again and again and again, I'm like, stop going against your gut. I'm like, this is the last time I'm going up against my gut. And then like 3 matches later, I do the exact same thing, go against my gut. And I miss a question that I was right originally on. And every time I have to remind myself, nope, you are going to be more mad if you go with your gut. If you don't go with your gut and you end up getting the wrong answer but had it right, than if you go with your gut and you're wrong. Like it's so much more annoying when you know the answer but you put the wrong one down than when you're like, I'm pretty sure it's this, and then you're just like, oh no, I just didn't know it.
Right. Yeah. It's better to not know something than guess yourself to get it wrong. Like, and that's my thing is like, that's why, especially with Inner Geekdom or like for us TM Geek, like that's why I have the I could care less attitude about it, because it's like, look, I know what I'm gonna know, and if I know something and it pisses me off, when we did the tournament last year, to kind of explain a bit to people if they've seen the tournament, one of the running jokes I made was anytime Lord of the Rings would come up, I'd say fuck you Shadowfax, because one of the matches I played, I got a Shadowfax question wrong. I had that name in my head and I couldn't make the connection, and it's because I hadn't seen Lord of the Rings at that point. But, and this is the weirdest connection ever, but there is a internet series called Epic Rap Battles of History, and they did a Gandalf battle, and the opening line, I don't know why, but I remember it. The opening battle is "You shall not pass. I ride fast like Shadowfax," and they show the horse, and like that clicked with me because as soon as they said the name, I could see it in my head, and I just thought, "Fuck, I should have known that."
I'm telling you, the first time I get turtles, the only thing going through my mind is like, Donna, tell me who you are again, dude, because I don't got him a lot of clues. That is going to go through my head the entire time I'm doing turtles questions. I promise you, you watch that, and if I smile, that's why. You're gonna see. If I smile on a turtles question, I got Rhett and Link in my head doing that.
I love that battle, man. It's so much fun. So obviously, Sam's your manager, and this is actually an interesting comparison because you were talking about the strategy in the game, like how you showed that you knew the game enough to get out the win, even if you weren't at your best. So last week, obviously, we're doing our kind of flashback series, talking about the previous seasons, and I jokingly even titled the episode Levine Talks, because we were talking about the back half of season 4, which was just the rise of Sam Levine. And one of the things I called out was, when you're looking at his matches and at his scores, even during his best play period ever, he was not having the most stellar, high-scoring, I'm breaking you in half matches. They were all super close points-wise, but it was the strategy. It was the clear, I'm learning the game better than you, and so I can maneuver myself around people like Roka, who at the time was basically just brute knowledge, Do you think having him as your manager will help you shape up that game even more than you already may have from the fan leagues?
Definitely. And one thing I have to consistently remind myself is that Schmoedown is not the fan leagues. They're different. So there are times, and there were times already where me and him have differing opinions, and I'm like, look, fam, he's been doing this for years now. Pay attention. Listen.
Right.
Tell him the way you do it, tell him the way you maneuver it, and then just talk it through and find a compromise or go with it. And I have to consistently say, no, he knows what he's doing. So it's definitely going to be something that's going to help me tremendously throughout my history here. So
yeah, absolutely. I certainly think that, and obviously we've seen it this year. It's unfortunate that he, and Sam had a rough year last year. I mean, I don't think we can't say that, kind of with the centerfold of his team being Guy and McWeeny having to step away, Guy losing the one edge he had in the competition, which was the in-person interactions. That went away, and all you were left with was his decent trivia knowledge, but not enough to get the points. And so going into this season, one of the things I do want to ask you, which I talked about when I had Jesse on, is your faction also kind of comes with a big, bulky 3 in terms of you have Ethan Irwin, Drew McWeeny, and Liz Shannon Miller. Obviously not IG players, but they are the bulkheads of this faction. If there's a captain, it's one of those 3. What's the interactions been like with them if you had the opportunity to have any? Because I know they're all professionals who are busy with other things, so there's more of a question of when you do get the chance to be with them, what's that been like if you've had it?
It's been kind of just on the periphery for now. Sam's really been focusing on the rookies, and yeah, you said it, they're busy. I never heard Sam say my name until he said, I want Chris Bryant, I want Amaru Moses. It's kind of like that. They're busy people. We are actually getting together very soon to be able to really officially do that. But it's been good lucks. You got this. Go ahead and do it. Congratulations. And it's really nice to be able to with me and Marie coming out with wins, and then hopefully Frankie comes out with another one to kind of just start us off really well. And hopefully we get to punch y'all in the mouth before our heavy hitters come in and then punch out in the mouth some more.
Absolutely.
So it's been on the periphery. They are this. It's been like when I got drafted, I was like, okay, this is going to be one of the more hands-off actions, just because, like, look how busy like the heads of these people are. But even with that, I have a great relationship with Sam and talk to him and Rachel a lot.
Right.
So getting to really sit with them and talk to them soon is going to be really nice.
Yeah, I can imagine. And they all three have had different experiences, so I'm sure they bring a lot in terms of what they've experienced and kind of getting with you and putting that into your future. Because, you know, obviously, I mean, two of them have won belts, obviously. And, you know, Ethan's ran the gambit. Which, you know, speaking of Ethan, you know, last year he did it pretty well. A couple years ago he did it in terms of tournament runs. Obviously, the fan league is not the Schmoedown, but here on TMG Trivia, we had our tournament, which happened right before you got drafted, and you ran the gambit on that one. And I mean, you know, unfortunately, as I jokingly said last week, for the better for us, you did not come out with the title, but you played a hell of a match.
I was three random words that you put together away from.
You were.
This movie right here. This one right here.
That one right there. You were absolutely right. It's so crazy to think, man. That's the limit of IG. That's how much separates people, man. So with that being said, are you looking forward to the tournament? Because I know we're getting at least one. I know there's been the rumor with Star Wars that they might do two. I'd heard initially IG might also get two, but I'm not the person to confirm that. But what's your thought, especially since Sam does seem to want to make you the centerfold, you're my IG guy. Are you looking forward to those?
Oh, I'm definitely looking forward to those. I would love two IG tournaments. Either for me to be able to play both, or for me to go into one and then Jacob go into another.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure with the bigger tournaments we'll get two. And like I would love it for Jacob to run a tournament.
Yeah.
And just me helping him try to get through that. I do hope I get as many matches I possibly can before the tournament starts.
Right.
Because what I don't want to happen is, like, my next match is a tournament match. I lose in round one and then I'm done for months on months on months on months. So I'm hoping to get. I would love to get two more matches before the tournament, especially because there are a lot of people in the league now, but there are a lot of matches happening. There are tons of matches happening.
Yeah, and at least 3 a week, if not more.
And on top of the additional 3 pay-per-views a month. So it's like I'm like doing the math in my head. I'm like, okay, 3 matches. So IG. So 2 people were playing every week. 2 people already played before me. So if there's 8 factions, then you'll go through everybody in 4 weeks, and then you're right back to you, really, or your secondary person, and eventually. The people who lost won't get it as soon, and eventually it's coming back. It's coming back to me soon.
Right.
My match was 2-3 weeks ago. I'm going to be hearing another one soon, so I'm hoping I get a couple before that tournament starts. And then when that tournament starts, I just want to be happy with my performance. I would love to get to a semifinals.
That's a good goal.
Definitely shooting to win that whole thing, of course.
Of course. If you're not in a tournament to win it, why are you there?
Exactly. But if I get to a semifinals, I would love to do that. Or just because I don't go into these saying I'm gonna lose, but if I hit a Robert Parker round 2 or something, or you know what? I think Robert Parker is the only name I'm gonna throw out there where I'm like, you know what? It's Robert. Who? If I win that, lovely. If I lose that, it's Robert.
Right.
And at the moment, I'm continuing with him because all through the campaigning, he's been the one I've been saying is he is the outside of Mara now because she confirmed that. He's the one that is to me, top active player, period, no matter what happened last year. Anybody else I face, even Barbarians in the back of my head, I'm expecting going in looking to beat you.
Absolutely.
But like again, if I hit somebody like that round 2, and I'm like, man, that sucks. But hey, so I would love. I want more than 2 matches in a tournament. That's what I want.
That's good, and that's a great, that's a good starting goal. And that you said as much in your match, where it's like it's not about the title, it's about the next match. Let's get that win. Let's move forward. It's a great attitude. Speaking of that next match, do you have somebody you'd prefer in mind to play?
So I have somebody I want to play. I don't know whether or not he should be my next match, but like from the beginning, I don't know why. Maybe because like last year in Atlanta, I met him in person.
Okay.
And ever since then, Hannah, I would love to play Hannah. I would love to play Hannah. Like I don't know. Again, I feel like Hannah ain't next. I feel like Hannah is like 3rd match. That would be great. Next, I don't know yet. It could be it could be a Saul, which I'm a little scared about. But I know for a fact I can keep up with him or beat him. But he is also very good, so we could go the other way. Or it could be, after looking at whatever rookies come through, another 1-0 rookie. I'm very intrigued about Mark Haas, about whether or not Gucci is full of crap or this dude actually knows what he's doing.
Well, Gucci's full of crap, but Mark might be good too.
Exactly. So I'm intrigued to see him because his name keeps popping up, and I will never let go of Dagnino just throwing out the line that I was the worst pick in the draft at one time after the draft.
No.
And that will never let go. So I would love to play Mark Haas, and I would love to see how much I can beat him by. That's what I would love to do. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna start to wrap up in just a minute. But I wanted to kind of get 1 or 2 more questions in before we finish up. The first one is now that we've seen another recent IG title match. Again, not to get ahead of yourselves, but as somebody who has seen you play personally, I would say you are damn good enough to get there. If not immediately, one day. You are the number 2 pick for a reason. I will say Sam got that 100% right.
Thank you.
In terms of the IG knowledge. How is your feeling about that format going into it?
Okay, you cut off at the beginning, so about which format?
The title match.
Oh,
whenever you get to it someday. How do you feel about that format scene if we're still in the digital era?
I like the format. I actually do like this speed round.
Okay.
Just
like fast money?
Just fast. I like fast money. That betting round is can really also just turn the tide. I played along with Mara and Chandru, and I lost both of them. But I lost both of them on like missing a syllable on somebody's name. So I was like, oh, okay, I could actually I could do pretty well if I went for a title right now. Like I really could keep up with them because I played along without actually studying. I just played.
Right.
And I was like, ooh, I know with these new categories, I know a lot of this. And there's NEN does a speed round now. And like I was able to do one of those before. I was able to do one of those before I got picked up, and I was like, it's fun. I like doing these speed rounds because, again, also going into strategy, saying what you know, and then like not tripping when you don't know it and say pass, and as you say pass, you're like, what's the answer? Okay, once it comes back around, I immediately have it.
Good.
So that type of strategy going in and knowing what time is left, it's as much strategy as it is quick thinking and knowledge. So,
yeah, absolutely. And then one last question to kind of wrap this up. We've talked about a lot of different aspects of the Schmoedown. Obviously, at 1-0, there is a lot ahead of you, but we all know that the end game for Christian right now is just to get it back to an in-person setting. I feel like it's a no-brainer to ask if you were handed a studio match, would you play it? I feel like that's a no-brainer for anybody. But the question is, if, let's say at the end of the season, whether if you're at a title shot hypothetically, or you just have a really solid record and they're looking for another one of those like non-title matches in one of the live cards, Christian goes to you and says, I got a sold out theater with a couple thousand people in it. You going on that stage and playing, what's your answer?
Go look up Hollywood Game Night from March 20th, 2016, and watch me wreck shop and only lose because of Eliza Schlesinger was on the other team in front of a live studio audience. Hell yeah, I'm ready, and I will not.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is the interview. Amaru, thank you so much for coming in, man. I consider you a buddy. It's great to have you back on the channel. And again, best of luck going forward. Absolutely looking forward to seeing who you take on next. And guys, let's just get this ahead of it, because Robert's also, a old buddy of mine from the internet era. If Amaru does lose a match this year, let's not pile on him. It happens, all right? Let's not let the hype get the better of the competitor. You guys know what he's capable of. If you want to see what he's capable of, and just look up any nerd league. You don't even have to promote my own. There's like 10 other ones you can look up. He's played in all of them. He's shown the stuff. Amaru Moses, thank you so much for being here today. Where can people find you on social media? Plug everything.
So you can find me at Amaru Moses basically everywhere. IG, Twitter, Facebook. I also do a bunch of different things. Bite Size Breakdown on IG. I write with a crew of writers. This, again, old, but you can go back and look at that a review I just did for a movie that doesn't exist. But go look for it to figure out what I'm talking about. But we do that. I have my own YouTube channel called Yuri Reviews. I will actually spell it and change my name because sometimes people don't understand what I am talking about. But it's like take reviews and just change the E to a U, Yuri Reviews, because somebody already has reviews on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, and they don't use it, and I'm upset. And I also, RuPaul uses it for their reviews because it's RuPaul, but they don't use it as much as a channel. Somebody else does, and I was very mad. So I added my middle name in the front of it for that. I do a show called One Gotta Stay every Monday. It's hilarious. It's fun. Aaron, you got to be on there at one point in life.
I'd love to. I've seen it come up, and every time I watch bits of them, it's just, dude, it's a great original concept, and I've said it on other shows I've been on. The internet space is so crowded now that the biggest compliment I think I can give somebody's originality is a damn original show, guys. Be sure to check that out.
Appreciate it. I give you 4 options, sometimes 5, and instead of saying one of them has to go, you only pick one, and all the work from everybody else is gone. And you can take that how you want it. It can be erased from history. It could be there, and you can never listen to it. It could whatever, but it's gone, and you only have to say one, and it leaves for a bunch of very fun conversations. I also do Uncovered Music podcast. Look, if you follow me, I will tweet it, I will post it, and go enjoy. So.
Absolutely. And he changed it, but I will say, as somebody who's checked out a lot of the reviews, follow Bite Size Breakdown, not just himself, but all the other guys that write on it. You guys are very intelligent writers. I like the reviews you guys put up. They did a series. You guys will have to scroll back down for it, but they did a series for Black History Month, bringing in Black creators that they were able to get hold of to do reviews of some of their favorite Black cinema films. And, as the uneducated white man, it was incredible to see some of those reviews. And I love a lot of those films too, man, especially the more recent stuff. Very, very smart. If Beale Street Could Talk is incredibly underrated. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll do the host plug thing. Be sure to check out everything we are doing here on TMG Entertainment. Myself and Matt Beer are posting film reviews now. We're posting trailer reactions, so be sure to check those out as they go up. We also have all our podcast shows. SchmoeTalks happens every Monday at 7 p.m. We have Cancel This Show, our politics show with Matt Beer and Alan Shepard that happens on Tuesday afternoons. We have our current streaming review show that happens Fridays. Right now we're doing The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a review for the second episode of the show. Goes up this Friday. Saturdays at 9 p.m. EST, we have After Dark, another show I'd love to have you on, man. I think you have that chill, just I can sit back and mess around for a little bit. That's all we do.
Very much so.
But that's on Saturdays. And then on Sundays, a show you are familiar with, The Supernova Show, airs at noon on Sundays. All your geekiest pleasures, Colton Roberts and crew goes into them. And Amaru is on there. Guys, thank you so much for checking this out. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and check around for more Schmo Talks. For our guest, Amaru Moses, my name is Aaron Knoll, and we will see you guys next week on Schmo Talks.